Hey guys, you're in a nutshell with me, Ina. Pasensya na kayo, no? Medyo iba boses ko. Kakasakit yata ako. But anyway, we are back with another interview. Our topic, naku po, tagal lang marami naghihintay makakuha ng ITA, di ba? Para makapag-apply ka na officially for PR. Well, meron tayong share na data showing na ang PR approval rates daw from 2022 to 2025 in some popular PR programs have gone down significantly. Okay, bakit kaya? Why are PR approval rates going down? Yan ang ating pag-uusapan. Kasama si Attorney Lou Dangzalan, immigration lawyer. Hello, Attorney Lou. How are you? It's been a while.
Hi, kamusta ka na? How's the vacation, road trip?
I, I'm still here. Nakakapagod, ano? Araw-araw gising na maaga, lakad-lakad. Oh my gosh. That's why, pasensya ka na rin. Ganito ang aking boses.
All good, all good.
All right. I will share with you guys yung data. This was actually posted by a popular immigration lawyer on social media here in Canada. Si Steven Murrens. At marami actually, Luna, iba pang immigration practitioners. So actually, I saw talking about this post. No? Ito po yan. Medyo magulo yung chart, guys. Kaya doon na lang tayo sa kanyang summary mismo. Pinakita ko lang sa inyo na meron talaga siyang table ng data. No? Yan. Ang sabi niya, IRCC approval rates in several PR programs appear to have dropped sharply in 2025. O ito, sa Federal Skilled Workers daw, ang taas pala ng 2022, Luan, 92%. Ngayon in 2025, 69% na lang. Tapos sa mga PNPs, from 93% in 2022, bumaba ito to 75%. And then there are others sa HNC, 78 to 52%. And then startup business, ito ba yung startup visa, no? It is 79% noong 2022, 23% in 2025. Okay. Have you noticed this trend? Talaga bang mas nagsuscrutinize? Is that the reason behind this decline sa approval rate?
I don't know if I would call it scrutiny per se, pero alam natin na kasi you have to qualify what scrutiny means. Ibig sabihin ba nito talagang binabasa ng mas masinsinan ng isang officer ang mga application, for example? Kasi yes, nakikita kong bumababa yung mga approvals. Yes, nagkakaroon ng mga moments na ang daming refusals na walang justification. But to that second point, walang justification, we are seeing a lot of erroneous decisions, meaning refused, but, they should have been approved. For
Oh.
example, may sinasabi na hindi ka qualified because you don't meet this particular NOC. Pero si officer, hindi naman binasa yung mga requirements ng NOC specifically to the requirements for the province. Kasi may mga instances na ganun eh. All that to say is like maraming mga nitty-gritty sa applications na hindi nababasa. So I have two minds in that regard. Number one, first is, alam naman natin na in 2025, doon talaga nagsimula na umasim ang sikmura ng mga Canadians when it comes to immigration because ito naramdaman yung cost of living issues, housing shortages, etc., etc. So, doon natin nakita yung decline in study permit applications from outside Canada. Doon din natin nakita yung massive scrutiny on renewals from inside Canada. Hindi nakakagulat na sinundan to ng scrutiny in permanent residence applications, whether it's express entry, PNP, or even non-economic streams such as humanitarian and compassionate. The second point, and I think this is very important kasi ilang beses na natin ito napag-usapan sa channel mo, Ina,
Mm.
artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
We also know, for example, in express entry, that IRCC started using generative artificial intelligence or Gen AI in order to process a lot of applications. In fact, na-report ito sa Toronto Star, kinary ng CBC News, for example, na merong ilang nurses, sabihin na lang natin, na na-refuse dahil hindi daw tama yung mga application, hindi tama yung mga documents, yung mga requirements, hindi daw na-meet, pero pag hinimay mo yung application na maayos, actually, nandun naman yung datos, pero hindi talaga na-capture ng artificial intelligence. So we have to understand that, the government is like using the deployment of artificial intelligence in immigration. This is very sad. Kasi nakikita natin na ginagawang human trial subjects yung mga applicants. Tapos ang solusyon sa kanilang mga refusal ay back of the line, reapplication, kung may opportunity to do that. Pero ang dami ng oras na nasayang, ang dami ng luha na itinulo, 'di ba? So parang nakakalungkot overall,
Mhm.
nakakagulat.
Right. So you're talking mostly about potential errors on the side of IRCC, no, yung decision makers dun sa
Mhm.
application. How about yung anti-fraud efforts ng IRCC? Could that also have been a reason for the decline? Baka nga
It's
mas
it's
sinusuri din nila. Kasi di ba sinasabi nila that they're boosting their anti-fraud detection campaign sa mga
fair.
applications.
Fair. Well, again, of two minds na naman ako dyan pagdating sa anti-fraud. It is very fair to say na, yun nga, potentially tumaas din ito dahil sa anti-fraud measures na ginagawa nga ng government. But on the other hand, you have to go back to my second point earlier, which is artificial intelligence. One of the ways that the government is using or basically doing to detect fraud basically in applications is by use of advanced analytics and artificial intelligence in order to sort through the enormous pile of applications. Diba? So doon nila susurian using artificial intelligence. So mga officer, dahil finag AI, mas sinusuri. So halimbawa, doon sa application mo for a study permit, dineclare mo na nagtrabaho ka sa Meralco. Tapos, hindi mo dineclare na nagtrabaho ka pala sa Meralco or meron kang master's degree. Tapos, pagdating mo sa PR application, doon mo na nilantad lahat, 'di ba? So syempre parang pwede kang kuhanin ng IRCC, tirahin nila for misrepresentation. Paano ba 'to madedetect ng officer? Well, una, pwede nilang talagang sisirin yung file ninyo from time immemorial. Or, number two, potentially, artificial intelligence could do that dirty work and pwede pagdugtong-dugtong yung mga files ninyo at makikita ng officer yung mga inconsistencies. So we're not saying that artificial intelligence is bad, ha? What we're saying is that this is very experimental technology and sadly, yung mga applicants yung test subjects. So, paminsan, maganda naman na nahuhuli tong mga inconsistencies na to. Pero on the other hand, nakikita din natin na may mga pagkakamali ng mga desisyon. In fact, we're dealing with one right now at our firm and nakakalungkot kasi kung talagang aaralin mo na mabuti yung file, kumpleto naman yung mga dokumento na sinabit ng applicants. So, itong officer lang ay hindi convinced. Actually,
Yeah.
dalawa yung case na hinahandle namin na ganyan ngayon eh, where we're at federal court in that regard.
Oh, actually, that is my next question. So, are you saying na marami kang inaayos, kumbaga, na refusal ngayon? Yun ba ang recent files that you are handling? Mga parang, bakit ito ni-refuse? Okay naman.
Well, I think pwede kong sabihin na yung main pipeline ko pa rin ng potential consultations or clients. Marami pa rin talagang naghahanap ng kanilang PR pathway, even in the last moments of their work permit, for example. So medyo talagang madami na talagang kinakatok. Minsan talagang binabang na talaga yung pintuan para makapagbukas ng pathway to permanent residence. And I feel you guys and kapit lang. Ah, pero nakikita ko rin na marami na ring lumalapit sa akin for erroneous decisions na kailangan namin labanan ng IRCC or mga cases wherein they detected something dahil nga sa tighter scrutinies ng IRCC. Hindi mo na naman ma-blame ang IRCC for that eh. Kasi parte siya ng political climate ngayon eh. They feel like they have shall we say, yung imprimatur, ayun ang hilig na sabihin ng mga abogado sa Pilipinas, yung imprimatur or permission na talagang suriin ng mabusisi yung mga applications. Talagang susuyurin nila para makahanap ng pagkakamali, halimbawa. Ang tawag dito ng federal court judges in the past is yung treasure hunt for errors sa mga applications, which on its face, actually fair na pagka nakita ng officer, talagang fair to bring it up. Pero at the same time, kung talagang merong intent, kumbaga na hahanapan kita ng butas, makakahanap at makakahanap, 'di ba? So, it's very tough. It's very tough out
Right.
there, I will say. So, I guess panimulan ko na, unahan na kita, Ina.
Oh,
Yung unang pwede natin gawin in that
yeah.
type of in this situation, in this climate is pangalagaan natin yung mga applications natin.
Yeah.
Kasi yung isang case na hina-handle ko, for example, biruin mo nakatanggap siya ng ITA. 2 days later, nag-submit siya ng EAPR. Siyempre, pinaspas yun, di ba? Paano yun? Daming problems dun sa application. Pero hindi naman siya, it should not have resulted into a nullity or a refusal, I think. So, pangalagaan ng mga application.
So it's at least that's the good side to this discussion. Kung sila ay na-refuse, don't worry. Kung kampante sila, they can have it. They can fix it or find a way na baka ma-overturn. But the question is, not everybody, syempre, Lou, has enough funds pa to get proper representation. Kapag DIY, madali ba yun ayusin? Paano kung DIYer lang sila?
Ito nga yung grand contradiction dyan eh. Tingin ng mga tao, nakakatipid sila for not getting representation in their file at the beginning kasi kaya ko naman DIY yan. Especially IRCC says you do not need a lawyer, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Pero in the age where IRCC is basically using a microscope to look for damage in your file, parang would you risk it? Lalo na halimbawa ang daming nakataya sa family ninyo. Tapos kapag nagkamali, di bale kapag kapag na-refuse, sabi nga ni Ina, pwede namang lumapit kay Attorney Lou or kay whoever you want to talk to work with para ayusin. Actually, doon siya nagiging mahal. Kasi it's so hard to untangle, it's so hard to unpack, and usually ang mga situation na to, sobrang limited na rin yung pwede kong gawin for applicants kasi hindi kami yung may control ng file at the time when it's submitted. You have to remember that when you're refused a visa, a permit, a residence for permanent residence, for example, kung ano yung sinubmit nyo, nakapako yun. Hindi ka pwede magdagdag. So, halimbawa, na-refuse ka na Ina, tapos lumapit ka sa akin, tapos sasabihin mo sa akin, Lou, pwede ko bang idagdag to? Sabihin ko sa'yo, Ina, hindi ako pwede magdagdag ng ebidensya. Kung ano yung sinubmit mo nung nag-DIY ka, doon tayo nakapako. Yun yung problema. Diba? So, in a way, again, hindi naman to self-promoting ek or whatever, pero I've always found it true na magtitipid kayo sa simula, kahuli-hulihan, doble, triple yung gastos nyo. Diba? So I understand that not everyone has the budget, pero, I would just say, think about it very carefully considering how meticulous IRCC tends to be these days.
What happens ba, Lo? Sabihin mo nang they tried and failed to overturn the refusal. Sayang naman yung ITA, una sa lahat. At pangawala, obviously, na-refuse na sila. Ano ba usually ang ending ng mga taong ang tagal-tagal lang naghihintay ng ITA, nag-submit, na-refuse? What usually happens to them?
Well, depende kung ano yung situation nila. So, meron pa ba silang work permit? Halimbawa, nag-submit sila, ito yung kadalasan nakikitang situation. Mag-a-apply ka through Express Entry, Federal Skilled Worker, or Canadian Experience Class. Tapos, in the process ng application, naka-PGWP ka, pero mag-expire na, halimbawa in 2 months. So, nag-apply ka ng BOWP at the time of your PR application submission. Usually, 1-2 punch yan eh. Kapag na-refuse ka sa PR, usually the same day or the next day, yung BOWP application mo ma-refuse rin. So you have to understand yung BOWP, yung basis niya is meron kang pending PR application. So ito yung favorite ng IRCC na pansin ko. Hindi nila a-actionan yung BOWP mo. Sasabihin kasi nila, well, pending yung PR application niya. Nag-submit siya ng BOWP. So ibig sabihin nito, maintain status siya kahit na mag-expire yung PGWP niya kasi in process naman yung BOWP. Diba? So, walang danger. Pero yun nga, sasabihin ni officer, teka lang, bago kayo bagsak itong alas ko, ibabagsak ko muna yung king of spades para kung may panlaban ka, pwede kitang bagsakan ng alas. Yung pambagsak nila ng alas, once na na-refuse ka sa PR, dagok na, di ba? Usually same day or next day, pati yung BOWP na-refuse. Paano kung actually naka-maintain status ka na? So out of status ka. Hirap. Ang hirap nun. Usually, yung mga situation na ganun, ina-advise na namin, you need to go back home and try again from there. So, ito yung sinasabi ko kanina. Sometimes, if you come to us kapag nandun yung mga problema, we don't have a magic wand or a time machine. We can't reverse certain types of damage. So, usually, ano yung sabi nila, di ba sa kotse kapag ka nagda-drive ka, maintenance is still the best, repair thing, yung gagastos ka sa maintenance mo para hindi ka gumastos ng malaki sa total wreck, 'di ba? Yun yung siste.
Yeah, you can't fix all things, no? Sabi mo nga.
You
Yung
cannot.
binabanggit mo kanina na may sinabi na sila dun sa original application. They wanna change it. Ay, ano lang pala, nagkamali ako ng title. How do you fix those? Pag sinabi mo nga,
Oh,
hindi mo na pwede yun, napako ka na dun eh. Nauna
title,
mong
ito ng
sinabi.
job title, for
Title or like,
example.
ano ba, period of employment, yung
Oh,
mga ganong bagay ba na for
delikado
them.
yan. Delikado yan. Kasi halimbawa, sinabit mo sa study permit mo, ganito, tas ganun. In technical sense, actually, pwede kang balikan ng misrepresentation accusation if it was material to the application on hand. Halimbawa, nag-apply ka ng study permit. Sabihin natin, nag-apply ka ng postgrad certificate in healthcare management. Pero hindi mo dinisclose na meron kang master's in public health, for example. Kasi sasabihin sa'yo nung consultant mo or nung student agent mo, huwag mo nang sabihin na may master's ka kasi pagka pinakita mo yan, magtataka sila, ba't nagda-downgrade ka, di ba? So, wag mo na, parang nag-a-apply ka lang ng trabaho. Halimbawa, pag nag-apply ka sa McDonald's, sasabihin mo ba dun sa CV mo na, ano ka, Six Sigma ka na, alam mo yung dami mong certification, kunwari, di ba? Hindi naman relevant yun sa McDo, di ba? In that case, that's not misrepresentation for your job hunting purposes. Pero from an immigration perspective, it is material because yung officer could have had a different decision. Kung makikita nila na may master's ka tapos magda-downgrade ka sa post-secondary or post-grad certificate lang. So ano nangyayari, di ba? Bakit
Oo.
tinatago mo? Ang tawag dyan ay misrepresentation by omission. So, kung ginawa mo yan dati, halimbawa, hindi mo dinisclose, pero yan na PR na, mag-a-apply ka na, kailangan mo na disclose kasi may points yung masters, di ba? Mas mataas yun.
Mm.
Abay, at that point, kung ako yung officer, talagang babagsakan kita ng refusal. Yun yun.
Ayos.
Kasi misrepresentation yun. It would have changed the original officer's study permit application decision. So, bibigyan kita ng opportunity to respond. Bibigyan kita ng PFL. Diba? So, good luck sa pagpaliwanag. Diba?
So depende pala yan, ano, kung material
Mm-mm.
misrepresentation yung nangyari.
Misrepresentation needs to be material. Yun yung
Oo.
kinakabahan ng mga tao. And wag kayong masyadong matakot doon sa mga nakikita ko, mga scare tactics na nakikita ko sa TikTok, sa Instagram, tsaka
Ano
sa
ba yun?
Facebook na
Wala akong
yung
TikTok
may
eh, oo.
wala na hindi na ako masyado sa TikTok pero nakikita ko yung mga videos na pinopost nila cross platforms, diba? Sasabi nila na, nagsinungaling ka dito or hindi mo dinisclose yun, misrepresentation. And yes, it's misrepresentation. But the question is it material misrepresentation? Mag-iiba ba yung desisyon ng officer if that information was in front of them? Diba?
Mm.
Yun ang material misrepresentation.
Okay. Salamat as always,
Bakit
Attorney
para
Lu.
kang
Oh,
immigration law prof? Bakit ang
ay
gagaling ng
naku.
mga questions
Oh,
mo?
ay naku, grabe ka. Dahil yan sa kaka-discuss ko na kung ano-ano with you and everybody. Pero
Corrected
thank
by.
you so much, Attorney Lu, as always, for your insights. So guys, ingatan nyo na ang inyong mga PR application. Especially, no, sayang, kung ang tagal-tagal hinihintay ng ilan yung kanilang ITA, do not waste it. Oh my gosh. Okay, so that is it for this episode. Thank you again. Attorney Lu's email is the one crawling down there if you want to get in touch with him. Oh. Sabi nga niya, no, guys, you can book him, anybody else, hindi lang siya, no? Basta kumuha kayo ng pagkakatiwalaan if you need
Please
advice
do
on
your
opening.
due diligence though. Yun lang. I-research nyo rin yung mga kukontakin nyo.
Yeah. Okay, we'll end this episode here. Thank you, Lou. Bye, everybody.